Clove. Inhale through your nose for 4 seconds, hold for 2 seconds, and exhale through your mouth. Such a profound difference. It's a reminder that nature has already provided many of the answers we seek. Many of my patients ask if they should continue using I'll see you in the next video. In this video, I'll show you exactly how it works. The type of olive oil that heals and the kinds that harm, why most men sabotage their results before they even start, and how to combine 3 simple habits to supercharge your circulation. Clarity and confidence in less than 10 minutes every morning. Stay with me because what I'm about to reveal could unlock the flow, energy, and vitality you thought were lost. The hidden crisis. After 60, when blood flow starts to decline. I still remember the moment Francisco, a retired 67-year-old engineer, sat in my office and said something that stuck with me. "Doctor, I don't feel sick, but I don't feel alive either." He had no pain, no serious diagnosis, but something inside him was slipping away. A silent loss of vitality, confidence, and energy he couldn't explain. And I knew exactly what was happening. What Francisco was experiencing wasn't just aging. It was a gradual, silent decline in blood flow, a process I've seen unfold in thousands of men over 60. Your circulatory system is the engine that powers everything, your energy, focus, strength, and even your performance. But over time, especially as you age, this engine starts to slow. Your blood vessels stiffen. The soft, flexible walls that once allowed blood to flow freely begin to harden. Your body produces less nitric oxide, the molecule that helps your blood vessels relax and open. The result? Colder hands and feet, fatigue that sets in earlier, and a silent, more troubling shift in how you feel as a man. Most men chalk this up to age, but I'm here to tell you it doesn't have to be this way. Your body hasn't forgotten how to heal. It just needs the right tools and signals to wake up again. And that's where this simple teaspoon of olive oil comes in. The morning ritual that awakens blood flow. When I first heard about men taking a teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil on an empty stomach every morning to improve circulation, I'll admit, I was skeptical. I built my career on science, clinical research, and evidence-based treatments. The idea that something so simple could make a real difference seemed like wishful thinking. But then I started paying attention. I heard from patients like Henrique, 68, who quietly started the ritual after our conversation and returned weeks later looking 5 years younger. He didn't need to say much. His energy spoke for itself. What began as a gentle experiment soon revealed something powerful. Men who followed this ritual consistently began to notice subtle, then significant changes. They felt warmer in the mornings, more focused, more alive in their own skin, and, perhaps most importantly, more responsive in intimate moments. I decided to try it myself. 1 teaspoon of high-quality, cold-pressed, polyphenol-rich extra virgin olive oil first thing in the morning. No coffee, no food, just the oil. After a few days, I noticed I wasn't dragging through my morning routine. My thoughts were clearer, my body felt more ready. And if you add a squeeze of lemon or a pinch of black pepper, you take it even further, activating your liver, improving nutrient absorption, and setting the stage for deep cellular repair. But here's the key. Not all olive oils heal. In fact, most of what's on store shelves may be silently working against you. What the science says and why it works so well. One evening long after clinic hours, I sat at my desk surrounded by stacks of research papers, trying to understand why this simple olive oil ritual was having such a profound effect, not just on my patients, but on me. The changes we were seeing weren't small. Men who had been tired, foggy, and disconnected suddenly seemed clearer, warmer, more confident. And it wasn't just in the bedroom. It was in how they walked, how they spoke, how they re-engaged with life. I needed to know the science behind it. That's when I dove deep into the role of the endothelium, the thin layer lining your blood vessels. This layer is responsible for producing nitric oxide, the molecule that tells your arteries to relax and open. When you're young, it works like clockwork. But after 60, this layer hardens and inflames, and its ability to produce nitric oxide plummets. That's when the problems start. Poor circulation, cold extremities, low energy, and yes, weaker erections. But extra virgin olive oil, especially the polyphenol-rich kind, does something extraordinary. It restores endothelial function, reduces oxidative stress, the silent damage that builds up with age, protects your arteries, and even helps stimulate Leydig cells in your testicles, which are responsible for testosterone production. A study in Italy showed that men who consumed this type of olive oil regularly had higher testosterone levels and better vascular health than those who didn't. This isn't about forcing your body to do something unnatural. It's about giving it the fuel it needs to do what it's always known how to do: heal, flow, and function as a man again. Real men, real results. There's something powerful about hearing another man say, "I thought it was all over, but now I feel like myself again." I've heard these words more times than I can count, spoken quietly, often with disbelief, by men who had almost given up on the idea that things could get better. They weren't bodybuilders or fitness fanatics, just real men. Husbands, grandfathers, veterans, men who had lost their fire not because they were broken, but because no one showed them how to reignite it. Take Tommy Helio, for example. At 68, a retired professor, thoughtful and kind, but visibly worn down, he walked into my office and said, "Doctor, it's not just the bedroom, it's everything. I feel like I'm fading away." I started him on the ritual. 1 teaspoon of high-quality olive oil every morning with lemon and warm water, nothing fancy. 2 weeks later, he called me. His voice was lighter. "I woke up this morning feeling clear. My hands were warm. I reached for my wife, and something just felt right." That moment meant more to him than any prescription. Then there was Geraldo, 72, a former truck driver with high blood pressure and years of frustration behind him. He didn't want another pill. He wanted to feel like a man again. After a month of consistency, everything began to change: his energy, his posture, his confidence. His wife came to his follow-up appointment and whispered, "Thank you for bringing my husband back." These aren't isolated miracles. They're proof that when you give your body what it needs, it responds. The most common mistakes and how to avoid them. Over the years, I've seen too many good men abandon this powerful ritual. Not because it didn't work, but because unknowingly they did it wrong. And let me tell you, as a doctor, there's nothing more frustrating than watching men try, hope, and fail, simply because no one showed them the details that make all the difference. One man came in excited to try the olive oil ritual. That same day, he went out, bought a bottle from the supermarket, and started taking it every morning right after his breakfast of bacon and eggs. A month later, he sat in front of me, disappointed. "Doctor, I didn't feel much change." I asked to see the bottle. It wasn't extra virgin, wasn't cold pressed, and was labeled light, a refined oil, stripped of the nutrients he needed. It wasn't his fault. Labels are confusing, and the food industry doesn't make it easy. Here's what I tell every patient now. The olive oil must be extra virgin, cold pressed, and rich in polyphenols. That's what helps your arteries heal and your blood vessels open. Timing also matters. Take it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. No food, no coffee, so your body can absorb and use it efficiently. And most importantly, be consistent. Skipping days or taking it occasionally won't create the momentum your body needs to repair and restore. When done right, this ritual becomes a message to your body. It's time to come back to life. How to amplify the ritual and boost circulation? Even more. Once you commit to the olive oil ritual every morning, something shifts. You start to feel it slowly at first, as if your body remembers how to be alive again. But this is where things get exciting. When you add just a few focused practices right after the olive oil, everything starts working faster. The results deepen, the energy grows. It's as if your whole system begins to sync up again, the way it used to. One of the most powerful additions I teach my patients is something called 4-2-6 breathing. You inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 2, then exhale slowly for 6. Just 2 or 3 minutes of this simple rhythm calms your nervous system, opens your blood vessels, and puts your body in a healing state. I've had men tell me they feel clearer, more centered, even emotionally steadier after just a few days of practice. Then there's what I call the power posture. Stand tall, hands on hips, feet shoulder-width apart, and take a few deep breaths. It sounds simple, but this position actually lowers cortisol, the stress hormone, and gently boosts testosterone. More than anything, it reminds you of your strength, reconnecting you with that quiet confidence age can sometimes steal. And finally, a short morning walk, just 10 minutes outdoors in the sunlight. It wakes up your muscles, gets the nitric oxide flowing, and sets the tone for your whole day. These aren't exercises. They're signals, reminders to your body that it's time to move, to circulate, to live fully again. The bigger picture. This is about more than performance. When most men start this ritual, they're focused on one thing: regaining their performance. And that's a perfectly valid reason. I understand. Feeling like you've lost that part of yourself can be painful in a way that's hard to talk about. But what has surprised me over the years is how often the men I work with end up discovering something even more powerful. Because as circulation improves, something else begins to return. Not just function, but identity. One of my patients, Alberto, a 70-year-old former businessman, told me something I'll never forget. "Doctor, I came to you to fix things below the belt. But after 3 weeks, I feel like my brain has turned back on." And that's exactly what happens. Better blood flow doesn't just affect one part of your body. It fuels your whole system, your heart, your brain, your hormones. Everything runs on oxygen-rich blood. And when you restore that flow, everything starts to change. Suddenly, you sleep more deeply, wake up with more energy, think more clearly, move differently, speak with more presence, and reconnect with your partner in ways you haven't felt in years. And perhaps most importantly, you start to feel like yourself again, not just in private, but in everyday life. That quiet confidence returns, the steady energy, the sense of purpose. This isn't just about intimacy, it's about reclaiming your place in the world as a man who still has strength, clarity, and drive to offer. The first step to reclaiming your vitality. After working with thousands of men over the past 25 years, I've learned something powerful. Your body wants to heal. Even after 60, even if you felt numb, tired, or disconnected for years, deep down, your body still remembers how to come back to life. It just needs the right signal, and sometimes that signal is as simple as 1 teaspoon every morning. This ritual may seem small on the outside, but don't let its simplicity fool you. When you choose the right olive oil, take it on an empty stomach. Stay consistent and combine it with a few mindful habits. You're sending a clear message to your body. I'm ready to come back. That teaspoon becomes more than a routine. It becomes a promise to yourself to return to strength, clarity, and confidence. I've seen men walk into my office discouraged and just weeks later stand taller, speak with more power, and smile with a quiet sense of pride. Their wives notice, their friends notice, but most importantly, they notice. Because the man they thought was lost, the one who felt sharp, capable, and fully present, starts to come back. This isn't about chasing youth or pretending you're 20 again. It's about reclaiming the strength of the man you are now, with all the wisdom and fire you still carry. And it starts with one small step. So the question is, are you ready to begin? Because in the final moments of this video, I want to leave you with something that could completely change your next chapter and remind you that your best days may still be ahead. If there's one thing I want you to take from this, it's that your body isn't done. Your energy, your strength, your clarity aren't lost. They've just been waiting, and sometimes all it takes to bring them back is one simple step in the right direction. Today, you discovered how blood flow weakens after 60, affecting everything from your hands and feet to your focus and performance. You learned how just 1 teaspoon of the right olive oil, taken first thing in the morning, can boost circulation, increase nitric oxide, and balance testosterone naturally. You saw the proof. Real men who tried this simple habit and felt their lives change in meaningful ways. You know the mistakes to avoid and the 3 easy steps to multiply the benefits, helping you feel like your old self again, in mind, body, and passion. But nothing happens until you start. I've watched men transform with this small daily step, and I've seen what happens when they wait. A teaspoon won't fix everything overnight, but if done right, it's your first silent commitment. Proof that you're still in the game. So now the choice is yours. Will today be the day you begin? Because your next chapter isn't written yet, and it might just surprise you with how much strength is still left.